Hello everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our file sharing webinar. I'm Chris, I'm an account manager here at AMS, and I'm joined by my colleague Neil, who's one of our pre-sales consultants. So what are we hoping to cover today? Well, we'll start off with an introduction to who we are and what we do. We'll then look at some of the challenges we all currently face when sending information in and out of the business. We'll then touch on some of the alternatives that we have access to nowadays, which leads me quite nicely on to an introduction to our own solution, the AMS File Transfer and Sharing Platform. Neil will then jump on and give you a demo of the software and hopefully address some of the challenges that we've discussed on the previous slides. I'll then come back on and discuss some of the points with file transfer, looking to the dreaded 4-letter acronym we've all been discussing for the last year, and how the AMS platform can address some of these articles. And then we'll summarize with some questions and answers at the end. A little bit of housekeeping. You'll notice there's a toolbar probably on the right-hand side of your screen, and there is a place at the bottom there to type in any questions that you may want to ask, and we'll get through as many of those questions at the end for you. Okay, so who are AMS? Well, we've been around since about 92, so about 25, 26 years old, and we have a lot of experience in secure information exchange solutions. In this case, we are the vendor, so we have designed, we support, we implement all AMS file transfer and sharing platform solutions. Because of our experience, we have a lot of, we work in a wide variety of sectors, including healthcare, the financial markets, manufacturing, legal, and public sector, amongst others. We have a pre- and post-sale support network here at AMS, and as you would expect as well, we have full development services. So when talking to our customers, to our prospects, to our contacts about how they share information or transfer information in and out of the business, we tend to find they use a mixture of different variety of mediums. And of course, there seems to be a few challenges with each of these. Now, most of the time in the busy working day, we can utilize email. If the file size isn't too large, or it's not deemed sensitive and it's a standard file type, email is absolutely fine. Now, the problem occurs that if maybe the file size is a little bit too large, maybe it's deemed of a sensitive nature, maybe it's a sort of a quirky file type, and we really can't utilize email in this case. So what do we use? Well, we have a few options, and we've gone through these and we've pointed out some of the challenges that our customers and contacts have faced over the last couple of years. So FTP. So as standard, FTP isn't secure and it doesn't comply with GDPR regulations. Of course, you can make it secure with SFTP, but the issue really here is that it is complex. It can be clunky for users to use. And quite often you have to have a client at recipient's end. It can be quite slow, for example, but the biggest thing is that there's no traceability or monitoring on FTP or SFTP. You can use email. Now, I've already addressed that email's fine in most cases, but if the file is a little bit too large, for example, I think here we have a 10 megabyte restriction on our email, then it does cause the user and the IT department issues. Now, in the past, we've had customers doing things like chunking emails, for example, to get the information across, which of course seems ludicrous nowadays. Also, if the information is sensitive and your email is a standard email solution, you shouldn't really be sending it through email. And of course, there's no real traceability with email and no true recall. Even if you do send the email to the wrong recipient and you try to recall the email, quite often it's up to the recipient's Exchange server to allow you to do that. Cloud sharing. Now, we all use cloud sharing, especially in our personal lives. But the issue here really is when a user uses cloud platforms on the fly within a corporate environment. Perhaps they're using their own Dropbox solution, for example. Maybe they have to get something across to a customer or supplier very, very quickly. We're all under a lot of pressure in our daily working lives. So as an IT administrator, this is your worst nightmare because you have no traceability over the information that's being shared. Is there a sensitive corporate document mixed in with, I don't know, someone's holiday photos, for example? And it does really cause a real risk. And of course, with some of the consumer-led solutions, data sovereignty can be an issue as well. Now, removable media, not so much of a problem nowadays. However, we still come across customers that use removable media quite a bit. So as an account manager, I deal with the NHS and the healthcare sector quite a bit. And there's still an element of burning to disk, still an element of saving things on memory sticks. And of course, the risk here really is quite obvious. Once that information becomes tangible, actually leaves your system, and actually gets put onto a piece of physical media, there's no control over that data. You have no idea where it's going. Does it get left in a taxi? Does it get left on a train, for example? I know there's been some stories in the papers over the last few years on this, and there's no real control. Depending on the amount you're doing, of course, the cost can ramp up as well. If you're buying lots and lots of CDs, for example, and you're burning information to disk. But this leads me quite nicely onto postal and courier services. Now, again, there's a cost element here. If you're doing it a lot, if you're physically sending information, it can cost a lot. And of course, it's quite slow. So it can clog up your processes and cause bottlenecks. And again, there is a security risk here. What happens if the data gets lost? And in the worst case scenario, what happens if the data gets stolen? So what I'd love to do now is just launch a quick poll and just get your gut feel on how maybe you're sending, receiving information, maybe personally or from your department or from the organization. So I'm just going to quickly launch this. And if you're able just to pick one or two that suit you, that relate to you, that'd be absolutely brilliant. We'll come back in 20 or 30 seconds time and just have a quick look at the results. Okay, just a few more coming in. Thanks for this, everyone. It's appreciated. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and well, 90%, 92% that have voted. That's pretty good. I think we'll go ahead and publish those results now and have a quick look. So we just share them. Okay. Okay. So it looks like 82% of you have suggested that you use email, and there's a big one for post and courier there as well. It actually surprises me a little bit, but okay, that's interesting. Thanks for doing that. So as I mentioned earlier, really, the email is great if you're sending standard files that aren't deemed sensitive, that aren't a unique file type. Of course, the issues occur if the file is slightly larger than you would expect and it is sensitive, or maybe it's a unique file type, then we have to find an alternative. Okay, thanks for doing that, everyone. I'll continue on with the presentation. So just a quick introduction to AMS file transfer. So I think the first thing to point out is that we're unique. So we have a file transfer, so a point-to-point solution, and a file sharing solution from one secure platform. And both solutions are two-way. Our cloud option is UK hosted, and that's in a Microsoft Azure data center. And of course, there are on-premise options as well. We do a lot in the public sector, as you saw earlier, and some of our public sector customers do prefer on-premise options. Now, as standard, there are no file size or file type restrictions with the AMS file transfer or the file share platform. unless the administrator sets one on the system. And the idea behind the solution really is to reduce load on IT by empowering users through certain permissions. And Neil is going to touch on this slightly when it comes to the demonstration in a second. Now, as you would expect with a solution like this, there is a full audit trail and traceability of all files sent and received and all files shared through the solution. There are 3 authentication options, which Neil will show you in a second. And we've also got a true file recall, which is something that obviously email struggles with. And also you can remove access to certain users as well after the file's been sent. Now, we're keen on user adoption. And as you'll hopefully see in a second on the demonstration, the web interface is extremely intuitive. And we have tools such as the Outlook plugin as well. And what we tend to find is when this solution is implemented into an organization, it tends to grow organically quite quickly. Okay, so I'm going to pass you over to Neil now to take you through the demo. We'll have a quick look. Hopefully we'll get a chance to address some of the challenges that we've discussed on the previous slides. And again, guys, any questions throughout, please type them into the box at the bottom of your toolbar, and we'll get those at the end.
Great, thanks, Chris. Morning, everyone. So I'm just going to take you through a short demo of the AMS file transfer platform and really cover both transfer from a user and client perspective and some of the admin functions available we'll talk over as well. There are a couple of ways of sending a transfer, either by using the web portal, which is cross-browser, cross-device enabled, also mobile responsive, or by using our Outlook plugin. So this is the main login screen for our web client. If you had a branded solution yourself, this is where we can change the text, the colors, we can add a logo and background image as well. So we'll go ahead and log into the portal. And once I log in, I'm actually an administrator of the system and I'm taken straight to my dashboard. For now, we'll just switch to the client area where I can manage my transfers and file shares. As you can see, I have an overview of my MFT account as a user, and this displays how many transfers are going to expire within the next week, the total amount of active sent transfers that I've sent, any unread transfers, and it will also record the last web portal access. As Chris mentioned, we do have 2 solutions in one. The file transfer is more of a point-to-point solution with expiry, and the file shares is more of a longer-term storage area where you're able to collaborate on the files and folders that you create. But across both platforms, all of the access is centrally managed and audited as well. So just to take you through the My Transfers platform, New allows you to create a new transfer. The inbox is a way of managing your inbound transfers, and then you have your sent items and drafts as well. So to send a transfer, we just hit New. And we've got the 3 steps available. So step 1 is who do we send the transfer to? So in the recipient field box, we can start typing, given the permission, a new user to invite on that transfer using their email address. Alternatively, if you have a published address book, the To button becomes clickable. So for now, I'll add a recipient from my address book. I've only got 1 in here, but if you did have hundreds, you can page through them. And also each column is searchable, so you can filter the results very easily. So if I just double click on the entry and hit save, that recipient is now available to send the transfer to. And I can also add a new recipient in here that I haven't sent to before, and it just tags it with the invite tag. So we add a subject, and it's important to note that the subject and notes field form part of the email subject and email body that's generated on the notification that's sent through to the recipient. So we try and say here, just to be descriptive in what you're sending, and obviously keep all sensitive data outside of this. If you did have sensitive data or your password protecting files, this is where you would add a secure note, and this is fully encrypted and only accessible once you've authenticated to the system to view the transfer files or the notes. Okay, so step 2 is around adding the files. So we can either drag and drop onto the web interface, or we can browse our local drives that we have available and just open them in the transfer, and further management tools around being able to remove individual files if necessary, and obviously you can go back and add more as well. Step 3 of the transfer process is setting the expiry date. By default, this is set to 14 days and with a maximum expiry of 30 days, and this is configurable by your administrator. And the access options that we have available are how the recipient interacts with the secure notes or files that you've sent to them. And these can be restricted down as well. But the login option is the most secure, and this requires an account on file transfer before you're able to view the files. If you already have an account, you'll be prompted to log in. If you don't, you'll be advised to register, and you'll be taken through a very short and quick and secure registration process. The open link requires no authentication, and the recipient is taken straight to the secure site where they're able to view the files and notes. And token is a mixture between the two, which allows the recipient to click on a link in the email, request a secure token, which is hashed together there and then they're able to copy and paste that into the token field box to access the transfer. For this, I'll just hit login. The alert options allow you to control the notifications you receive as part of the transfer. So you can be notified, email notified when a transfer is read, downloaded, or is due for expiry. These can be enabled by default under your profile, and then you're able to toggle them on and off where necessary. So if I just hit the download option, and we can just go ahead and hit send. There was a back button there as well if you wanted to go back and amend the transfer, and there was a draft option which allows you to save it to drafts and come back to it later on. So I'm taken back into my sent items where I can manage these and obviously look at the audits around what I've sent. But for now, if I just sign out, and I'll take you through to my email. And this is the sample notification that would come through, and it would allow me to, I'll just show you this one while we're waiting for the email, and it would allow you to brand the notifications and add any logos or disclaimers that you wish to add. So once we've got the file, we're able to download it as the recipient. Because I already have an account, I'm able to log in with that straight away. If I didn't have an account, this is when the recipient would go through the process of signing up and registering. So now I've logged in as the recipient. You'll see I have the recipient's view. And what this enables me to do is now view the secure notes, which are fully encrypted, and either download or view the file if it's a supported file type in the inline viewer. We support over 70 different file types. So if I click view, it takes me straight to the inline viewer where I can further manage with some tools around printing, downloading as original, or downloading as PDF. There's also a comprehensive search option where you can find keywords within the document that's attached. Okay, so if I log back in with my sender account, and we'll have a look at the sent items of the transfer. So if we just switch back, this is the one that I sent before. I'll just go into this one. So first of all, you have the same recipient view that the recipient had, so you've got full visibility of that and what you've sent to them, and that's under the Transfer tab. The Files tab provides you with access to track file access or recall individual files. So you can see on this one that I previously sent, I've already recalled the file and it's no longer available for download. And you can also track the individual downloads. So if you sent to multiple recipients, this enables you to manage effectively who's interacted with these files through the audit. The Shares tab shows when or who viewed the file and the last access time. Again, you can track this and remove access on an individual basis. And finally, the audit provides a full comprehensive audit on an individual transfer level for the whole transfer rather than the individual files or shares through the Files and Shares tabs. Finally, on the right side, there is a delete transfer option, and this will securely remove all access to all recipients that you've sent to previously. Okay, so I'll just switch to the Outlook side, and if you have the Outlook plugin installed, it can be pushed out as well via group policy and some other options, but essentially you'll have this new transfer button, and this opens up the transfer template. There are other ways of opening this up, so if you are already composing an email, you can switch from that email to retain all of that information, and it will put it all into a template ready for you to compose and send it. So it's again just a case of addressing it to the recipient or recipients like you would a normal email. And the subject and notes, again, or the message body, are also transferred with the notification. So on the recipient side, they'll also have full visibility of this. On the panel on the right, this is where you can control the authentication options. So around being able to select login, open link and token, given the permission, and also the expiry date and secure notes. To attach any files that you want to attach, you can use the normal Outlook attach file option. In certain environments, there are restrictions to the amount of data that you can attach through Outlook, which is why we've designed the large attachment button. And what this allows you to do, again, is browse locally and attach the files. You'll notice they're little stub files. So that's just a reference file to the files you've attached to get around any limitations. You can also attach folders through the interface, which zips the contents securely, and on the recipient side, they'll be able to extract that data once they've received the transfer. It's worth noting when we hit send on this, all of the files, the secure notes, are offloaded to a desktop app and securely uploaded to the server. So no sensitive information is actually going through the email account itself. And once we've hit send, and it's actually gone through that process, it will write the transfer back into the sent items to give you that full visibility and traceability as the sender. Okay, so if I go back to the web interface and we'll just review the File Shares platform. So given the permission, I'm actually a file share owner, so I have all my file shares here. These could be file shares that I've created myself or that I've been invited to view and manage. So for now, if we create a new file share and we call it Client A and give it a description and hit save, I now have my file share available, which I can access and manage. So as an owner, I'm able to come in and upload some files, and I'm able to create a folder structure, and these can be subfolders as well. And what it enables you to do from here is to manage where those files are stored. So you can upload directly into folders, or using the move tool, you can select items and move items around within the share. And if I click into this, Obviously, that's the file that I've just moved in there. I now have some options around viewing the file format, downloading it. We also have checkout and check-in functionality with version control, and I'm able to rename and move the items from here as well, and also make comments, like so, and you can post your comments. And using the message bubble, so if anyone else has access to this, they'll be able to quickly access those comments and make comments themselves as well. On the versioning side, I have created one already just to show you. So if I go into my Customer A folder and I click on this file, you'll see this document that's loaded in the inline viewer has change 1 written at the top. And if I go to the File Versions option on the right-hand side, you'll see that I do have some previous versions available. So if I click on the button, it takes me and shows me the previous version. And also I had an option to download any previous versions as well. Likewise, I've got the comment access here just to give me an overview and some basic file properties as well of the file that's in the inline viewer. And like the transfer solution, you have the options around printing, downloading, and downloading as PDF, and the full search capability as well. So if I just go back to the share I created before, as an owner, I have full visibility of an audit, which records all actions for this individual share. Under the options menu and settings, I can control the maximum size of a file share, the maximum file size that can be uploaded into a share, and also add any blacklisted items that you don't want people to be able to upload into the share as well. And then we have the user options as well. So this is about who you're giving control to be able to effectively either manage or view the data that you've uploaded. So an owner, which I am at the moment, I have full rights to the share, and I can invite new users. I can view the content, add, edit, delete. An editor has the same ownership rights as an owner, but they can't actually invite new users. A publisher can only upload and download all content, but they can't edit or delete. And then a read-only user is only able to view and download the content. So if I just add a user and just select from one that I've sent to before, and I'll create Neil, this third account, as a read-only account. And once we hit yes on that, they're now going to receive a personalized email inviting them to view the share that you've just created, and obviously view the options in there. So if we go back to my email, so this is the email that I've received, and if I just quickly sign out of here and we'll log in as that user. So we just click Open Share. Again, I already have an account, so it's prompting me to log in, which I'll do so. And like the file transfer, if I didn't have an account, it would take me through a very simple and secure registration process. And now I'm logged in, it's taken me straight to the file share that I have access to, and I can manage other shares as well that I have access to. And you'll notice that a lot of the options are cut down. So as a read-only, I can only view and download and make the comments. But now I have no longer any visibility of the audit, the users, or the settings, and I can't actually invite any new users either. So you're really restricting that access. Okay, there is actually an admin portal to the solution, and this allows you to administer the solution, but more importantly, allows you to run compliance and audit reports as well. And these will allow you to search, for example, on transfers sent or received, review any system changes that have been made, and export the data where necessary. That concludes the demo. I really appreciate your time, and I'll pass you back over to Chris.
Brilliant, thanks Neil. So as Neil alluded to in the demo, most of the time we end up branding the portals and the email notifications for the customers. So I wanted just to provide you with a couple of examples of some that we've done recently. And the reason for this really is twofold. Of course, they do look better. They look a lot better. So if a customer or a supplier or even maybe a patient is logging in. It's another sort of advertising platform for the organization, but also there's a security element here as well. So when users log in, they know they're logging into the right system, and especially with the email and the branded email notifications, they know that they're receiving information from the correct system as well. So I just wanted just to quickly skip through these and just give you an idea that it doesn't really matter what your website looks like or what your logo looks like. We can take it and actually make this portal bespoke to you. So to touch on some of the security points from Neil's demo, because I thought they're worth highlighting. The first thing to mention is that everything is encrypted with 256-bit AES encryption, and that's in transit and at rest. There's a variety of authentication and viewing options. Now, Neil didn't get really a chance to take you through all the viewing options, but of course we can show you those on a personal demo if you want us to. And of course, as you would expect, the portal is secure with an HTTPS portal. Now, as an administrator, you have a lot of control. You can do things like create blacklists for certain extensions, you can create address books, you can even white label those address books, so you encourage the user to pick from a list of sort of proven recipients. And what you're really doing as administrators, you're offering user-based control, but around very strict permissions that you set. And if you look at the bottom set of bullet points, everything in the solution is audited. Okay, so every transaction, every file shared, every file transferred or received. The administrator also has a dashboard view as well. We can set up notifications, so users and administrators also get alerted when something's downloaded, when something's uploaded, when something's shared, when there's been a system change. So anything that happens on the system is caught in the audit trail. Which leads me quite nicely on to the GDPR. So I've only got 2 slides on this, but bearing in mind the date of the webinar, and probably I imagine half the people viewing this webinar are interested in GDPR, I thought it was worth bringing up. So I just wanted to go through a few of the articles, just 2 slides, and just cover how AMS file transfer caters for these articles. So the first article, 25. Now, if you know GDPR well, you'll probably know that this really focuses on data protection by design and default. And really it's about embedding data protection into business processes, systems and services from the outset and not as an afterthought. And it's important to remember that really. And this means that access to personal data should be restricted to only those people who have the necessary or justifiable business need to do so. And how we cover for this is that we meet the requirements through obviously the authentication, also the access control to files, the storage retention policies, and of course, to repeat myself slightly, but everything is encrypted as well. Article 4 is linked to consent. So as we all know, we've all had the email shots about giving our consent to carry on receiving emails from organizations. And what we can do within the system is set up T's and C's, which mean recipients receiving information, or even before users use the system, they have to agree to your T's and C's, and they have to give consent before actually being able to receive that file. Okay, Article 32. So Article 32 really focuses on security of processing, and what it does is it states that organizations must ensure a level of security appropriate to the risk. Now, I know this can seem like a bit of a grey area for most of us, but it outlines the requirements for the encryption of personal data. And again, everything sent and received through the system in transit and at rest is encrypted. We also provide a full audit of all users or file transfers or system changes. And as you would expect with our cloud offering, we have a full DR setup with a Microsoft Azure data center. And if you do prefer an on-premise setup, we can help you set up that in a disaster recovery environment as well. Okay, so some 15, 17, 20, and 32. So these articles really refer to an individual's rights to access, or their rights to remove their personal data, and their rights to portability. Now, our solution provides a secure mechanism to send files and data to individuals in the correct format, which is very important. It could be, for example, in the form of a subject access request, but also gives you the ability to quickly delete information, set retention policies on transfers and data. To expand on Article 20, this states the ability to restore the availability of personal data in the event of a physical or technical incident, And again, if you do set up the solution in a disaster recovery environment or utilize our cloud offering, this will be covered. Article 30, now this focuses on the record of processing activities. So this means that organizations should have a log showing all personal data transfers that occur. And of course, as Neil demoed earlier or alluded to earlier, this is provided through the auditing and reporting capability within the file transfer platform. So I wanted just to do those 2 slides on GDPR. And I suppose just to summarize the GDPR slides, I know much of GDPR is about storing and auditing of personal data. And of course, this is vital for all organizations moving forward. But it's also vital to remember that we need to consider the security of information and files going in and out of the organization. And as you can see from the demo earlier, what we're providing you with here is a mechanism to secure, to control, to track, and to audit all files, all shares sent and received from the organization. Okay, so we do have a technical roadmap for the solution. This is something obviously that we're the vendor, so we're always trying to develop and improve the solution. The first thing is automation. Now, we do have a full RESTful API, and we can tie into third-party systems. However, we're always looking to improve this. And I know, for example, we're doing something with hot drop folders at the moment, where we're picking up metadata from an output management system and then turning that into a secure file transfer and automating that sending of the transfer. Improved reporting. Now, you haven't really had a chance to look through the reporting functionality on the demo today because of time restraints, but the reporting is already extremely thorough. But we know that this is one of the most important aspects of a secure file transfer solution. Therefore, we're always looking for ways to improve it. And FTP and SFTP. Now, what we're doing in this instance is we're utilizing the file share area that Neil showed you earlier with the boxes, and we're going to enable you to turn that into an SFTP server, and that way you can talk to your customers or suppliers SFTP setup. But the good thing for you is that you will have a full audit trail of everything that's going through it. So we're coming to the end of our webinar now. So just to summarize what we've discussed today, and I appreciate your time, everyone. So in summary, I think it's fair to say that we have a lot of experience in secure file transfer and secure sharing platforms. And if you are looking to ensure security of your corporate intellectual property going in and out of your business, and I think AMS is a great place to start. The solution can be fully personalized as your own, and that's with the secure web portal or the email notifications, as you saw earlier. And we're keen on user adoption. And hopefully, as you've seen in the demo with the intuitive web interface and the Outlook plugin, users tend to find the solution very, very easy to use. And what we tend to find is once a solution is implemented within an organization, it grows quite quickly organically. And what we're hoping is that this solution has been designed to reduce the frustration, of course, to your maybe your staff and your colleagues and your partners, but probably most importantly to your customers as well. And finally, if you are looking to really secure the way you're sending and receiving information with GDPR around the corner, then I truly believe that what we've got in place here will allow you to do that very easily. Okay, everyone. Well, thanks a lot for your time. It's really appreciated. I think what we'll do now is we'll go through some of the questions that we've received over the last half an hour or so. In the meantime, if you do want to get in contact, there is a slide up on the screen with website and email address and phone number. So please feel free to get in contact. And of course, if you do have an account manager, please drop them a line, and we'll go through some of these questions and get through as many as we can.
Okay, so we've got one here about the expiring messages. Do all messages expire, or can these be managed case by case? So in answer to your question, an individual file transfer would expire. So if you've got 10 transfers and one expired, obviously you've still got 9 left, but it's important to mention that all recipients of that transfer would no longer have access to it once it's reached that expiry date. Is it possible to send a request to a client for them to send files to you? Yes, there is. In this demo platform, we didn't actually have the option enabled, but we've got an invite user option, which as a professional user, once you're logged in, you'll be able to click on that option and put in an email address of a prospect without sending them a transfer and invite them into using the system. Another way that we've done it is with a bespoke login portal or registration portal, which some of our clients use. And it's a link that you could send to your prospects or clients, and they can actually create themselves an account there and then, and obviously log in and send you the files in as well. So there's a couple of different options around that. Is that Ajax-based form so it auto-fills? Not entirely sure on the technicalities of the solution. It's worth mentioning there are no browser plugins, but the technology behind the form, I'm unsure. So hopefully we'll be able to come back to you with an answer on that, if that's okay. Once you've sent a document to a client, can they send a reply to this within the AMS system, i.e., if we sent a document for approval, can they approve it? We are looking at doing this in the file shares element rather than the file transfers. So it isn't a piece of functionality in the solution around the approval at the moment. Obviously, if you were using file transfer, your customers could send a transfer back with just a secure note. The file share element, we're investigating as it has come up before with the approval. So maybe if you'd like to leave your details, we can get in touch with you about that and discuss it further. Will AMS integrate into G Suite at some stage? I think probably what we'd need to know is what type of integration you're looking for into the G Suite. Obviously, we've got the RESTful API, but it's whether you've got a particular process that you're looking to open up in terms of the transfer and integration. So it might be worth us chatting about that in further detail if possible. Is there a way to auto-delete the files after expiry date? Yes, so by default, the solution, once a transfer reaches the intended expiry date that's been set, all files are securely deleted from the system, and the metadata is available for auditing and reporting. That is configurable. The amount of time the metadata is available for, by default, is 90 days, but it can be extended as per your requirement and organization. How are user accounts created? Can it link with AD? The on-premise does have a single sign-on AD integration. It's not an AD sync as such. It's just a way of authenticating. Really, the options around creating users at the moment are either manually, or we can perform one-off uploads for you with, for instance, like a CSV file, and we can import that directly into your tenancy. So if you want to investigate that option, again, please get in touch and we'll be happy to talk that through with you. Here's another one. Files are encrypted, stored on the servers, so local admins cannot view them. How is the key management done? Good question. Everything is fully encrypted, as you know. We use the Azure Blob Storage, which manages the encryption for us. But again, I think we'll be able to give you a more thorough answer to that outside of the webinar, if that's okay. It's also worth mentioning that all files uploaded and downloaded on the cloud are also virus scanned as well. So that is a standard in the product across the platform.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody?
We've got one back pop in. Okay. How does the licensing work? Well, the product is licensed in two different ways. So the file transfer element, so the point-to-point solution, is licensed on the professional users that you need in the organization, and the amounts you're going to download in a month, and potential storage you may need. Now, there's no cost to any external users at all. So your customers, suppliers, partners, members of the public, whoever it may be, there's no cost to those licenses at all. Now, the file share element, so the sort of sharing workspace area, there's no user licensing at all with that module, and it's solely licensed on how many file shares you may need at any one time, and the amount of downloads you may need within a month, and the ongoing storage you may need as well.
Okay, there is another question that's come in as well about the inline viewer. So can you restrict access and prevent people being able to download files in the portal? The answer is yes. We didn't demonstrate this today, but essentially where I demonstrated the file transfer element, you have the download button and the click to view a supported file format. These can be restricted with the DRM module that we've got. And what that allows you to do very easily as the sender is control the recipient view. So you can put it in full DRM mode, which if it's a supported file format, so any Office document, PDF, and lots of others, it removes the download button and forces the recipient to view the data within the inline viewer. It's fully encrypted as standard anyway, but it also removes the download as original and PDF, and the print option as well. So you're fully restricting that with the DRM module, and that is in the solution. So if you did want to see that, we're more than happy to show you that outside of the webinar.
Okay, just one more here actually. Can it handle all document types? The answer is yes. There's no document type or file type restriction, and that goes for size limit as well. As an administrator, you can put limitations on the system yourself if you want to, but as standard, there are no limitations on document type or size limit. Okay, everyone. Well, I think we've got to the end of the questions. Of course, if you do think of anything afterwards, please feel free to drop us a line. If you want to get in contact, these are the contact details. And something to quickly mention, if you think it's got potential and you want a free trial of the software, we can do this for you as well. And but thanks for listening to us for the last 40 minutes or so. Appreciate your time, and have a good day.
Thank you.